Let's now look at the exponential linear unit, that is ELU. Again, we have the same example on here. On the left hand side, we have the column X, which has the values -10, -5, -0.1, 0, and then we have the positive values. Let's think of these as inputs shown here by the circles to the neuron A, and the neuron A uses the activation function ELU. The output values of that neuron are shown on the right hand side in the column A, where we see the values -0.999 and so on right up to 10. On the rightmost side, we see the plot which shows the blue line. That is the ELU function, activation function. That's how it looks like. And the magenta color dots are the points that we have on the left hand side. Those are plotted on the same line. And up on the top is the green box that shows how the computation was done for the ELU. And as you can see, the values greater than 0, they are all positives. Of course, they are positive and they are increasing, but values that are lesser than 0, such as -10, -5, they are reduced to values that are much smaller. They're still negative, but they are much smaller than what we had earlier, which is -10. So magnitude is reduced and they're much more closer to 0 now. Let's look at the usage. Here in the in the Google Colab notebook, we have the link for the activation functions, and we'll go ahead and import the library NumPy, TensorFlow, and Matplotlib. Now for the ELU, so let's use the ELU. We'll create an example. X is equal to tf.linspace, and we'll create values from -10 to +10, and we'll create 100 of those values. And then we'll use the ELU activation function by typing tf.keras.activations.elu, and we'll specify the input value of X. So this will generate the values for Y, and we can plot those values. So we'll say plt.plot X, Y, and we'll say plt.grid, and finally we say plt.show, and we should see a nice plot which are the activations for the. So the reason why there's nothing here, I missed a negative sign. So when we have the negative sign, we see this nice plot which is the ELU activation function. And if we wanted to, we could calculate these based on the relation that's shown on the slide by typing, let's calculate the value of y2, that is equal to, we'll use the tf.where, and we'll put a condition that if x is greater than 0, then we return the values of x as is. However, if it is less than 0, then we would multiply it by the value of alpha, and so we'll say alpha times, and then we multiply it by exponential -1, x -1, and now we can plot these values on the same curve. So we'll say plt.plot x comma y2, and now when we run this, we see that it's overlay of the earlier blue curve that we had, and that's because it's exactly the same values that we get, and this was the relation that's used in the ELU function, that's the exponential linear units. I hope you enjoyed this video. In the following video, we'll look at yet another activation function. Until then, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.